Alright, fire it up. Let's do your thing here, bud. Nobody's any better at this than you are.
That's fine. Take a deep breath.
Give him hell at the end. You like to?
Fighting like hell like we do every week. You are the best here. Brett, be affirmative. You told me to get on.
Info. Ready. Ready. Go slow. Green, green, green. Lock it down. Lock it down.
Alright, fire it up. Let's do your thing here, bud. Nobody's any better at this than you are.
That's fine. Take a deep breath.
Give him hell at the end. You like to?
Fighting like hell like we do every week. You are the best here. Brett, be affirmative. You told me to get on.
Info. Ready. Ready. Go slow. Green, green, green. Lock it down. Lock it down. 14.
I'm destroyed. And I just got drove through like 6 times on the 14th. So, excuse me, thank you. That is the stupidest thing I've seen in my career. Literally.
Everything you described is accurate.
Haven't even finished the second stage yet. Half the field's wrecked.
Record. Hell yeah.
11 got it.
Rowdy there, Matt. Good job, pal. Thanks, man. Good job all day.
Great work, my man. Great work.
Keep putting yourself in position. We'll win our share, right? We got it back today, brother. Good job.
10-4, great job, guys.
And welcome back. Had some updates on my computer and things weren't quite working the way they're supposed to. But welcome to Racing in the Draft. My name's Mark. And I'm fortunate to only have to go down the road about 15 minutes for this week's race. And actually get to go watch it in person. Hopefully you've had a great week and you are not affected by all of the crazy weather the last few days. That was pretty intense and pretty insane in the middle of the country, and then we ended up getting some of that come through our area Friday, Saturday morning, and then last night definitely became a doozy. So the track will be green and clean for today's race at Richmond. Hopefully you're here and ready to discuss the race at Richmond and Draftkings lineups and such. But either way, before we get into that, let's jump backwards to Coda, where Tyler Reddick, man, that guy's good at road courses. That's all I can say. And complete chaos. Almost a joke there towards the end. I don't know how NASCAR fixes this turn one issue. I mean, it's even chaotic in F1 for the turn one, but those guys seem to respect each other a little bit more. Now, I also understand F1, if you touch each other, your race is pretty much done, where you can lean on and beat on a stock car a little bit more, but there's got to be a happy medium between the two of them and have a little bit of respect, at least in turn one. I don't know if it's single file restarts when it's a green white checker, or if it's I don't know if maybe you change the restart zone to somewhere else. I'm not sure how you fix it. I think maybe it's a single file after the first green flag. You'll still have some guys that'll get runs, and some guys that'll push the envelope. But I mean, maybe you don't take out half the field every green flag restart. But either way, I went from having a great day to having a mediocre day. But either way, Tyler Reddick pretty much dominated this race along with William Byron. It was pretty much a two-man show, and then we had some comers and goers throughout the field. I mean, Kyle Busch ended up having a really good day, but Tyler Reddick started second, finished first, led 41 laps, getting a 62.1 Draftkings. And our boy Todd Gillen finishing 10th even. I mean, if he'd just gotten to a 20th, it would have been a pretty good day for Todd Gillen. He probably would have made the optimal lineup, but getting the 10th. Way to go, Todd. Chris Buescher, not typically the biggest road course racer. I think my family may be coming home, so the dogs may go nuts. Bear with me. Kyle Busch started 9th, finishing 2nd. Didn't lead any laps, but good enough to get him into the optimal lineup. Same thing with Ross Chastain, who won this race last year here, ended up finishing pretty well, even though I think on the first green flag, green-white checkered restart, he got turned, and then still fought his way back to 4th. that's just how chaotic and crazy this stuff was. Corey LaJoie, who is not known for road courses and having quietly a really good start to his 2023 season, finishing 11th. Our optimal lineups, we've got some spread, but not much. We've got a lot of guys with two spots in the optimal lineup and a bunch of guys with one. So will today be the day where we get some separation in these guys with the optimal lineup challenge? All right, so much for last week. Let's get to current day. Richmond, we are headed for Richmond for the Toyota Owners 400. It is a short track for the most part. I mean, it's 0.75 miles in length and 14 degrees in the corners. It could have multiple lines. The bottom line is definitely going to be the way to go, at least in the first stage until the track rubber's back in. We had laid down lots of good rubber in the Xfinity race yesterday, but rain and Mother Nature washed that all away. So we're starting with a green track, and they're going to have to rubber that thing back in. If you remember last year, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., before the end of stage 1, started running the high line, which I really had never seen at Richmond. I've been going to Richmond for a while. You would get a kind of a higher middle line, but Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was almost running a Darlington type of line around Richmond last week and was making it work. With this track wearing out and the surface really getting abrasive and tire fall off being as big as it is, this thing's starting to become multiple grooved. It's going to be interesting, but Dominator points today, 280. We will need to focus on some Dominators today. At least one, if not potentially a second, that would have a good high finish. Laps led equate to 100 points, and fast laps equal 180 for a 280 Dominator point day. Track comparisons, of course, we look at Richmond, Martinsville, Phoenix, Nashville. You could even throw... those are probably about it. I mean, you could throw New Hampshire in, it kind of acts like a short track. You could throw Nashville Super Speedway in. But for the most part, Phoenix is probably the closest, Martinsville kind of being an odd one to possibly look at also just because of the short track comparisons. But either way, we did not have qualifying nor practice. Mother Nature took care of both of those. So we're kind of shooting in the dark here. We're just going to unload, see what you got, and see who hit on the setup in the race shop and who didn't. Either way, as I do every week, I will break down this box and all the stats with inside this box fully, and then we'll kind of skim through the rest of them and give some highlights for each driver as I get to them. But either way, William Byron, $11,000. I didn't fix the top line. Oh well. It's always something. I always miss one thing. William Byron, $11,000. He is third, and the starting position, since they didn't have qualifying, came from the metric qualifying lineup that they do that started during COVID. But either way, William Byron is third, and that's based on a bunch of different factors. It's last race points, owners points, and there's something else I'm missing, but I don't really worry about it. But William Byron starting third, got a good starting spot. That was a big help because William Byron and the rest of the Hendrick crew got their 100 points back, which was a pretty big deal because William Byron would not be starting third because he would have been way down in the points. So that helps William Byron today and the Hendrick crew. But $11,000 for William Byron, that's his price on DraftKings. We get down to this next line, and this first set here equates to the last 5 Richmond races, which you can see notated up here. And in those last 5 races, William Byron does not have a win, but does have 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, 4 top 20s, a 35.1 DraftKings average, and a 12.2 average finish over the last 5 races in Richmond. Now remember, things changed a little bit because last year was the next-gen car and the 3 previous year were in the last generation car. So the car definitely ran differently, So take that into account. The track is still the same. Tire compound changed slightly, but for the most part, the track is still the same. Unlike Atlanta, which we were at 2 weeks ago, was completely different. In the last race, which would be the fall 2022 race, William Byron finished 11th. And then over here to the right, we have the full stats for Richmond Raceway. And this is literally, I take information back from 2001, which was the last time when Kevin Harvick first started in the Cup Series. So we go back to 2001. William Byron has raced 9 times here at Richmond. He's got 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, 7 top 20s, and a 14.6 average finish. Then over here on the top right, this is the ranking system that I have. This takes in the last 5 races, the last 10 races at similar style tracks, and the last 10 current races. So what's the trend? What have you done for me lately type thing. And then qualifying, practice, which both of those kind of got thrown out, but we do have the qualifying starting spot, which is our place differential. Put all that together, I've got William Byron 9th on the ranking system, and then 30 to 35% here is how much ownership I have of the particular driver, and I've got 30 to 35% ownership of William Byron. Remember, he had a really, really good, consistent day at Phoenix, so he also won that race. But with taking all that into account, I've got 30 to 35% ownership in William Byron. Now, I run 40 different lineups. And I don't give you an exact percentage because, we don't need to be having the same lineups. I don't ever share full lineup construction or exactly what I'm running, but this kind of gives you a general ballpark that I'm pretty heavy on William Byron today. I think I'm probably heavier than the field. He'll probably be 20 to 23% owned is my guess. But William Byron, 30 to 35%. He's been on a hot streak lately and has become quite efficient at short tracks. Next in line here, Kevin Harvick, 10,800, starting 10th. He does have a win, and it was in the fall race last year. So the last time we were here, Kevin Harvick ended up getting the win. And I tell you what, if that had been 401 or 402 laps, Christopher Bell would have beat Kevin Harvick. Tire strategy for Christopher Bell fell short by just a lap or 2. So that being said, Kevin got the win last year, put himself into the playoffs. Didn't have the greatest playoff run, but either way, Kevin Harvick getting first last year. He's got 4 wins out of his 43 total starts here, which is the most in the field. Not the wins, but the most starts. In the last 5 races, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, 4 top 20s, pretty consistent. He's got an 8.4 average finish. Okay, pretty good. That's better than your starting spot. And a 47.8 Draftkings average, which gets you real close to being where you need to be for the optimal lineup. All right, next here, Kyle Larson, 10,600, starting 9th. Kyle Larson does not have a win in the last, it's actually 4 races. He missed the fall 2020 race. In fact, it was only 1 race here in 2020. But in the last 4 races, he's got 1 top 5, 2 top 10s, 4 top 20s, a 39.4 Draftkings average, and a 10.8 average finish. He finished 14th here in the fall race last year. He does have a win here at Richmond. And I've got him 4th on my ranking system, 25 to 30% ownership. And very similar to Kevin Harvick, 7th on the ranking system, 25% ownership. Hey, if you're just tuning in, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know who you like today, who you don't like today, who's coming from the back, who's going to be a dominator, who's going to get the win. I think my pick for the win, I really haven't, I usually don't gamble and bet the win. I just do really DraftKings. But if I had to kind of take a quick jab at who's going to win, I think Christopher Bell might be my top pick. I'm a Kyle Larson huge fan, so I would like to see Kyle Larson win, but I'm not sure that I think he's probably a top 5. But he did really well at Phoenix, so keep that in mind. And he's hungry. He wants to get that win. But the guy that I think probably might have the best shot, but has the best shot at getting us a lot of PD upside, Christopher Bell, 10,300, starting 21st. Hey, that bad starting spot for Christopher Bell may end up being good strategy for DraftKings. But remember, it's probably going to be very chalky, and a lot of people are probably going to end up running Christopher Bell also. I do have him second on the ranking systems, 35 to 40% owned. He does not have a win here, but he does have a 6th place average finish, which is the best in the field. Now, take that into account. That's only over 5 races. So, 43 starts for Kevin Harvick and a 9.7 average finish is pretty good when you take everything into account. I mean, Kevin Harvick has 39 top 20s out of the 43. So only 4 times Kevin Harvick hasn't finished in the top 20. Pretty good stats. But Christopher Bell, all 5 races finished in the top 20, starting 21st. I'll take that. 6th place average finish, and finished second in this race last year. And Gibbs and Toyota are typically really, really good here at Richmond. So take that into account when you're putting your lineups together. And as we can see here, Denny Hamlin, 10,100, starting 11th. He's got the best DraftKings average over the last 5 races here at Richmond with an 85.6 DraftKings average per race. 4 top 5s, 4 top 10s, 5 top 20s. So all of the last races, he's finished pretty much inside the top 10. He finished 4th in this race last year in the fall and did end up winning the race in the spring. So Denny Hamlin, Richmond native, just down the road in Chesterfield. He should have a very solid day. And Toyota typically comes here. I mean, they are the namesake for the race today, the Toyota Owners 400. So Toyota should run here. Good. 32 total starts, 8.3 average finish, and only finished outside the top 25 times. Pretty good. All right, next in line here, we've got Martin Truex Jr., 9,900, who should have won the spring race last year, and he finished 7th in the fall race last year. Does have the best average finish over the last 5 Richmond races with a 3.8 average finish, 72.1 DraftKings average. Both of those stats are really, really solid. Does have a win here in the last 5 races, not in the next-gen car, but just previous to that. 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s. So all 5 of these races, he's finished in the top 10. Pretty solid. Finished 7th here in the fall race, and like I said, had one of the fastest cars in the spring. Also, 33 total starts, 3 wins. So, not bad stats for Mr. Truex Jr. Somebody to definitely keep an eye on. Starting 12th, we got a little PD upside potential there also. Paul Moss. First like, hit it. All right. Thanks, Paul. I appreciate the like. Who do you like today for the Toyota Owners 400? Do you like Denny Hamlin, or do you like Martin Truex, or do you like Christopher Bell? Or do you not like any of the Toyotas and going and leaning towards a Joey Logano out of the Ford camp? Let me know. Who do you like today? Kyle Busch, 9,700. Outside pole, starting on the front row. And as you probably know, I don't really ever like pole sitters or front row starters. Kyle Busch, on the other hand, potentially could end up getting out front and leading this thing for a while. So, especially single bottom lane, grooved racetrack, it's really going to be who gets that jump on the start. Alex Bowman may lead for a little bit. My guess is, I have not heard confirmation on this, but I'm guessing because of the heavy rain last night, we will probably see a competition caution. My guess is lap 35 or 40. So that would bunch everybody back up. Everybody would get some fresh tires, get some adjustments made. So that's my guess, because no practice, no qualifying, and a green track. My guess is they will probably have a competition caution. I do not know that for verified. So go check Twitter and see if Jeff Gluck or one of the reporters there are reporting that. And I also don't have reports of anybody going to the rear for adjustments. I mean, I'm not sure why you would go get an adjustment, other than if you started the car and the engine wasn't working or something. I don't know. But either way, Kyle Busch, 9,700. Does not have a top 5 in the last 5 races here, but all 5 races he's finished in the top 10. 8.2 average finish, pretty consistent. Finished 9th. 6 total wins, which is the most of any driver in the field out of the 34 starts here at Richmond. Joey Logano, 9,400, led a ton, 222 laps last fall in this race. Looked like the car to beat until tire wears and some cautions came out. But Joey Logano, 9,400, very, very fast here at Richmond with a 6.8 average finish over the last 5 races. I mean, in a pretty impressive 10.4 average finish over 27. He does have 2 wins here at Richmond. Finished 6th in the fall race last year. Like I said, he was the dominant car, too. Starting 18th, I think we've got a lot of decent amount of PD upside play. I think Joey Logano also, kind of like Christopher Bell, will be pretty chalky today, starting in the high teens or low 20s. There are a couple other guys we need to keep an eye on also that I think will be chalky. One that I do not think will be chalky, or at least in my opinion, Alex Bowman, 9,200. Now, I think Alex Bowman could easily go out and lead the first 35, 40 laps until we get that stage 1 caution, or that competition caution that I think is going to happen. 9,200 starting first. Does have a win here in the last 5 races. I think it was the spring of 21 where he got the win here. He kind of snuck into that one, to be perfectly honest. So he's got an average finish of 10th, which isn't bad. But if you're starting from the pole and you fall to 5th, 6th, 7th, and if you didn't lead 100 laps, you're probably not going to make the optimal lap. You'll finish decently in cash tournaments, but you're not going to finish way up in tournaments. So, like I say, he does have the 1 win. He's got a 19.7 average finish out of 13 races. So, Alex Bowman's okay here. He's not great. But starting from the pole, I don't really have a whole lot of interest. Tyler Reddick. He won last week, so I'm hoping he gets a little bit of good luck charm from his win last week, because I tell you what, Tyler Reddick has just had awful luck here at Richmond. 5 races, a 17.8 average finish, and only 4 times has finished in the top 20. No times in the top 10, starting 5th. I mean, maybe driving for the Toyota will help him change his luck a little bit. But there is momentum, and there is a thing with NASCAR drivers and momentum. You get a win, it kind of carries over. I just don't know if that's, like I said, just Tyler Reddick's just not great here, like he is at other types of tracks. So I'm a little leery on Tyler Reddick. I've got him 22nd on the rankings. I've only got him in 5 to 10% of my lineups. So, and most of those are a couple lineups that I made where it was pretty much all Toyotas. So there are a few tracks that I feel are very manufactured based and kind of have the manufacturers have it figured out, and Richmond is one, and Toyota kind of has that kind of on a lock. So, I mean, there's some other tracks. Michigan, I think, is a Ford track, and it just seems to be always Fords end up winning there, or running well. So, who knows? This next-gen car's kind of thrown everything for a loop-de-loop. But, I mean, we did have 1 Toyota and 1 Ford win at Richmond last year, and a Toyota, if it had been 2 more laps, would have won the race. So, that being said, Ryan Blaney, 8,800, starting 17th. Ryan runs decent here at Richmond. He's got 11.4 average finish, 3 top 10s, 5 top 20s. Finished 10th in this race in the fall. Starting 17th, got a little bit of PD upside, and I think Ryan Blaney may be quietly under-owned today. So kind of keep that in mind. Maybe Brian Blaney is a sneaky pick. I've got him in 15 to 20%. He came in 5th on the ranking system. So Ryan Blaney could be a sneaky pick today. Ross Chastain, 8,700. I still can't believe how well he finished last week after being just garbage at the end of the race. I mean, he had a good, fast car, and he must have because he was able to make it back up through the field to finish 4th. But 8,700 here at Richmond. He does not have a top 5, only 1 top 10, 4 top 20s, and a 14.8 average finish. Finished 18th, starting 4th. I probably have too much ownership in Ross Chastain. Other than the fact I'm thinking maybe his luck will change. Maybe. Probably not. I probably shouldn't have this much ownership in Ross Chastain. Looking at these stats one more time. So I'm probably heavily owned on Ross Chastain. I could see him coming in more around the 15 to 18% ownership, so I'm probably pretty happy on Ross. I think it's just the way the roster construction ended up working out. So I would not be that high on Ross Chastain going back and looking at it again. But and I may go adjust that slightly. Doubtful though. Chris Buescher starting 7th, 8,400. Sneaky had a Chris Buescher had a solid little finish last year, finishing 3rd in the fall race. But that really is the best that he's done here. Does that carry over to today? I mean, if they kind of put a similar setup to what they had in the fall race last year, maybe. It was warmer last fall than it's going to be today. It's only going to be a high of like 62, green track. It should be pretty quick, and once those tires start to wear, it's going to get really, really slippery. I just don't love Chris Buescher's starting spot of 7th. I mean, he might be able to finish there. I don't think he finishes top 5, though. That's just my opinion and my guess. And other than the fall race last year, there's nothing in his stats that say that he could be somebody that will finish in the top 5. But that's always changed. Brad Keselowski, 8,300, starting 24th, and the teammate to Chris Buescher. Brad had a decent race last year going. He finished 15th. Okay, I mean, for what Brad's year was last year, that's not a bad finish. He's got an 11.2 average finish, 51.5 Draftkings average. Most of that came in 2020 and 21 when he was still with Penske. Yeah, I mean, Brad knows and understands how to win here at Richmond and take care of his equipment. The question is, can he stay out of trouble? Brad just seems to always be a magnet when it comes to trouble. So, starting 24th, there is a decent amount of PD upside play with Brad. So, I do like that piece of it. 13th on the rankings, 20-25% ownership. Daniel Suarez here, next at $8,100, starting 20th. Pretty much, my opinion with Daniel is he's going to finish where he starts. It's going to be somewhere close to this 20th range, which for DraftKings just doesn't really do a whole lot. He's got a 19.4 average finish. He finished 19th in the fall race last year. This stat down here at the bottom is wrong. He does not have 4 wins at Richmond. Yeah, I screwed that one up. It's not 4 wins, but no top 5s, 3 top 10s, and 10 top 20s. I do know is correct. He's got a 15.5 average because he was in a Toyota there for a while with Gibbs Racing and was running pretty well. So, take that into account. Recently, he's only been 4 top 20s. All right, Josh Berry. No stats in this car at this track, but if you happen to watch the Xfinity race yesterday, Josh Berry, you got to remember, he is a late model stock racer that grew up and cut his roots racing on short tracks in and around Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee. Josh Berry is extremely good at saving tires. Tire wear saving is going to be huge. You're driving the number 9 Hendrick Napa Auto Parts for Chase Elliott. You've got an incredible team behind you. With all that being said, starting 30th, Josh Berry potentially easily could be a top 10 driver, probably realistically a top 15. But I tell you what, if you get from 30th to 15th and you're sniffing a top 10, that's going to be everything that I need to put you into the optimal lineup or get you really, really close. So, and got Josh Berry more than likely is going to be very heavily owned also. So I think it's Bell, Logano, Berry right now are probably going to be the 3 highest owned. There are a couple other drivers down here towards the bottom that I think will also get some pretty heavy ownership. But those 3 are probably going to be extremely heavily owned. So it's kind of one of those take it or not take it. It's you do and he finishes well, you finish with everyone else. If you don't and he finishes poorly, then you look great. If you don't take him and he finishes well, your day's pretty much shot. So I think it's kind of one of those. It's almost better to put him in than not put him in. But I would also be running multiple lineups if I'm doing that type of strategy, which I do. Paul Moss, the 24, the 4, and the 11, one from each manufacturer. So okay, William Byron starting in 3rd, Harvick starting I think it was in 10th. and Denny Hamlin starting just outside the top 10. Yeah, I mean, I definitely like the Denny Hamlin pick. William Byron being super fast this year. Very, very good pick. And Kevin Harvick winning this race last year. I think all those are solid picks. Blaney got to show me some results before I bet on him. Yeah. Blaney kind of picked up right where he was last year. Just kind of quietly finishing off races. I mean, every once in a while he'll hunt and he'll lead a few laps, but then he'll kind of fall back. Something will happen on a pit crew or pit stop. Blah blah blah. Yeah, Blaney needs to get more consistent before I start putting him in a lot of my lineups or putting any money on bets on him. So, yeah, the 24, the 4, and the 11, I have no argument for any of those three picks. Other than the 24, his stats here in the past have not been superb, but those are just stats. It's history. What's going to happen today? Don't know. We'll find out. Chase Briscoe, 7,800, starting 19th. His average finish here is 18th. Finished 23rd in the fall race last year. I mean, we've got some PD upside here with Chase Briscoe. He ran well and ran close to the top 10 for a little bit in the last fall race, if I remember correctly. But then faded and finishing 23rd. Yeah, I mean, I've got him in 25% of my lineups just because he's starting 19th. I think there's some room for improvement. I mean, kind of like with Ross Chastain, I probably have too much ownership in Chase Briscoe. Just my personal opinion. I'm probably overweight. I think he's probably more in the 10 to 15%. Oh, hey man. Yeah, I'm on. It's I tried to get started by noon. I was a little late today. I had some software issues. I had to update. I ended up getting VR for iRacing and setting up that VR through my computer all out of whack. But either way, hey, I appreciate you showing up, Family Man. By the way, Family Man, he didn't really talk me into it. I kind of was like, hey, okay, I've got a couple guys who are starting to follow me pretty consistent. Paul, you've been here quite a bit. Make sure you hit that Discord link in the notes below. I now have a Discord channel. I'm still trying to work out how my weeks go and getting stuff put onto Discord and get all my picks in for the other series and still be a dad and still work and still, yeah. So I'm learning where I need to put stuff in to that Discord channel. But would love to have a community of people there that we can kind of bounce ideas off of throughout the week, especially when Draftkings pricing comes out. We watch previous races from last year and those types of things. So if you want, hit that Discord button, join in. Would love to have you on there. Here, didn't realize. Yeah, okay, got that. Yeah, Fan, who do you like today? Who do you not like today? I know you watched both the races. I think you said from last year. Any notes that you could remember? I remember we got a green, really, really green racetrack, and yeah, no practice, no qualifying. So what you got is what you got that you unloaded from the truck. Eric Almirola, 7,600. This guy's going to be heavily owned also, and I'm very heavy on him. Starting 32nd, finished 8th in this race last year after starting 32nd also. 11.4 average finish. Eric Almirola is really, really good at short tracks, kind of like Josh Berry. He just gets them. You got the 8 car winning. Okay. I mean, Kyle Busch has got 6 wins here at Richmond. All of those came in a Toyota. Let's see what he can do with a Chevy. Oh, that's Mark Fish. The 8 car winning? Yeah, maybe. Mark's also in our Discord. Mark is also teammates with me in iRacing in a league that we run together. So, what's up, Fish? Thanks for joining. Yeah, I mean, the 8 could win. Got 6 wins here. Eric Almirola, 7,600, starting 32nd. Like I said, he's really good at short tracks. Got an 8th here last year. I've got him in 35 to 40%. He could easily be very heavily owned right there with Joe Logano, Christopher Bell, and Josh Berry. So that's number 4 of our group of highly owned drivers today. Bubba Wallace, 7,500, starting 28th. I don't know what to do with Bubba Wallace. If you go off of his feelings and thoughts about how he feels about as a race car driver, you probably should pull him from this car because he pretty much got out of the Coda car and said, I should be fired. I think that was being a little hyperbolic, Bubba, but I don't know if that mental block carries over to this week. And if it does, and he looks at his stats are not good. He's only got one top 20 in the last 5 races here at Richmond, and that was the fall race of last year where he finished 13th. Starting 28th, yes, there's PD upside potential, but there's a mental block with this guy that's just, I don't get it. He's a capable driver. He is the most polarizing figure we have in the garage. Probably more polarizing and more differences on the spectrum than Dale Earnhardt Jr. Or Dale Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt was loved by his fans, but hated by the people who didn't. I don't know if Bubba Wallace has that many good fans. He's got a ton of bad fans, which I just don't get it. He's just a dude who drives a race car, guys. And that's all it is. Yeah, the media wants to make more out of it, and it shouldn't be. Bubba Wallace is a decent race car driver. He's not great at short tracks. He's not good at road courses. Pretty good at the mile and a half and really good at super speedways. So, he gets a ton of sponsorship. I don't have a whole lot of him. Starting 28th, 24.6 average finish, 10 to 15% ownership for Bubba Wallace. I worry about the mental block with this guy. And then we go to his teammate, or actually a Toyota teammate, Ty Gibbs, 7,300, who won the Xfinity Spring Race here and raced really well in the Xfinity Series, but then had just a garbage day in the fall. 7,300, starting 14th. This is what I don't like where Ty Gibbs is starting. He finished 36th in this race. He knows how to race. He just hasn't figured out how to race this next-gen car. I think he's starting too far up, even being in a Toyota, being with Gibbs. It's pretty much the 18 car. I just don't. Starting 14th scares me too much to have any much ownership in Ty Gibbs. So, other than that, we don't really have any stats on him, so don't have much to really say. And then he's starting 14th. He just hasn't figured out this car yet. Austin Dillon, 7,200, starting 27th. He finished 16th in the fall race last year. He's got a 10.2 average finish with 1 top 5, 3 top 10s, 5 top 20s. The last 5 races you finished in the top 20. 3 of those you finished in the top 10, and you're starting 27th. Pretty decent amount of PD upside play with Austin Dillon. He could end up being pretty heavily owned today. I'm not sure he gets into above 25%, more like probably 20-22%. So I've got a decent amount of Austin Dillon, 20-25% ownership. 7,200 is a great price tag. I think there's a lot of value there with Austin Dillon. AJ Allmendinger, $7,000. Only has 1 start, and that was the spring race, I think. Can't quite remember where AJ, because he did not race in the fall race last year. Noah Gragson ran that car. But AJ Allmendinger has got an average of 27th place finish. And if we look at his full stats, he's only got 3 top 10s, 10 top 20s, a 21.9 average finish out of the 24 races. AJ's a road course ringer. Starting 25th does intrigue me a little bit. Kind of think he might get just into the top 20. Finished 18th, 17th. Is that enough? I don't think so. Austin Cindric, 6,800. Austin Cindric, you got the bad luck of the draw here and starting 6th, and you've got a 20th place average finish over the last 3 starts here at Richmond. You did finish 12th in the fall race last year, but if you go from 6th to 12th, I don't have a whole lot of interest. I think you just outkicked your coverage, and you haven't really proven anything to me that you're going to run in the top 5 today. So Austin Cindric, I am staying away from. Family man, I like Byron Harvick. Great long run cars at Phoenix, same race package, very similar track. Tire wear is a little bit more severe in Richmond. Last year races were both really green. meaning not many cautions. Hamlin and Truex run really good at Richmond. Yeah. I do like Byron. He was really good at Phoenix. He's been really good this year. He's really fast. Starting close to the front in third. Yeah, I mean, I think all those picks are great. I've got a decent amount of ownership in Hamlin and in Truex. Yeah, the Harvick one is kind of the outside liar that I kind of go, maybe. But Harvick's always just sneaky. So, yeah, I think your picks are good. And I think we could easily see some long runs again today, especially at the beginning. The tires are going to hold up for first 20, 25 laps, then we're going to see comers and goers. So, all right, back to it. Thanks, Family Man. I appreciate your input. Eric Jones, 6,600. Fish, you know I'm in the middle of doing a live video, and you're sending me a text message. You're funny. Eric Jones, 6,600, starting 22nd. I don't know what to do with Eric either. Starting 22nd, there is a PD upside potential. 24th place average finish, finished 35th in this race last year. 18.7 average finish over the 11 races. I think probably kind of gonna get a finish before we start. I'm probably a little overweight, but we're starting to get into this weird spot with this between 55 and 7,000 where you got to have some ownership, and this is where all the dough is made, and it's finding and picking the guys in here that aren't going to be potentially heavily owned, that change your tournament build to try to get into finishing well in tournaments. I'm not sure Eric Jones is a great cash option. I do think he's a good tournament option, though. Ryan Preece, 6,400, starting 33rd. Pretty much scratch all of his stats because they were in junk cars. I mean, even with that being said, he had a 24.7 average finish over 3 races, starting 33rd, driving for Stewart Haas Racing. Do I think Ryan Preece hunts a top 10 today? No. Do I think he potentially punts a top 20? Yes. And with that being said, I think there's enough value here for Ryan Preece. And I think a lot of people will probably go to Ryan Preece over an Eric Jones because the 11-point possibility PD upside play, where they're not going to go after Austin Cindric starting 6th, because I think Austin Cindric finishes 15th. So with all that being said, I mean, out of this group, Ryan Preece is probably going to be the heaviest owned, mostly because of his starting spot. So take that for what it is. Chandler Smith, our winner from yesterday. Momentum. The problem is you don't have a whole lot of experience in this next-gen car or in the Cup Series. But starting 37th, you have nowhere to go but up. Plain and simple. Or stay right where you are, which I don't foresee that happening. He is driving a Colleague backed car. Should have speed, should have a decent pit crew, and if yesterday was any indication, Chandler Smith is going to be somebody that will end up racing pretty well. Now, does Chandler Smith get up and race for the top 10? No, probably not. Does he race for a top 20? Maybe, and probably, and that is more than enough at $6,100. Starting 37th, I think there's a ton of value here. I have him in 25 to 30% ownership, but remember, doesn't have a whole lot of experience here in the Cup car, especially the next gen. So, with that being said, there's a little bit of worry there, but starting 37th, I'm okay with it. Kind of like that Matt Benedetto setup yesterday, him starting 33rd and finishing 32nd in the truck race. Kind of have to be careful sometimes starting these guys that you think are going to do well, starting from the back. Michael McDowell starting 15th. Michael, you got the unlucky draw and outkicked your coverage because you have a 27.8 average finish, finished 29th in the fall race last year, and you're starting 15th with no practice, no setup, no interest. Next, please. Noah Gragson, 5,800, starting 23rd. finished 24th in the race in the fall last year. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if he's won an Xfinity race at Richmond, but I know he's raced pretty well. Starting 23rd, I think this is another one he's going to finish where he starts. To be plain and simple. I'm a Noah fan, but I don't think he's got. There's no real upside. There is a little bit of PD upside play, but I haven't seen anything to tell me that he's going to go and finish in the top 15. So I have him 10 to 15%. Like I said, he had to have some ownership down here. So it's kind of where I'm at. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., my son's pick for today. Wonder why. The kid loves Kraft macaroni and cheese. Yep. So that's why he's a Kyle Busch fan, because of M&M's, and now he's a Ricky Stenhouse Jr. fan because of Kraft macaroni and cheese. At least for this week, he is going to the race. This will be his first Cup race today, so we're pretty excited about going. Oh, my dog wants to join. You want to come up here and say hi? Come on. All right, everybody. Here's my dog. He doesn't like it when I pick him up. And there's my other dog. All right, go down. Come on. Gregson is sneaky. It's just a feeling as far as getting just enough to make optimal, maybe. Yeah, I mean, Gregson could be sneaky. I just haven't seen anything yet this year that makes me go, ooh, that's a good possibility. I mean, kind of like Ricky Stenhouse Jr., I don't have much ownership because what have you done here? Other than you figured out how to run the high line, and I think the track's going to be too green early for that to happen. 21.6 average finish, 19.8 over 19 races, finished 22nd in the fall, and starting 8th. Yeah, don't have any real interest in Ricky Stenhouse Jr. At least my kid will have something fun to watch. Justin Haley starting 29th at 5,500. Kind of the same thing as Noah Gragson and some of these other guys. I mean, do I think Justin Haley kind of runs around 23rd or 24th and then maybe sneaks into a top 20? Yeah, do I think he's going to get into a top 15 or top 10? Probably not, unless there's a lot of attrition and he happens to not be involved in it. I've got him in 10 to 15% of my lineups. Decent value on Justin Haley. So it'll be interesting. I mean, I think realistically, out of all the college cars, I think Chandler Smith is probably the one that finishes the best. Corey LaJoie, 5,400. Corey, you're off to a heck of a start this year, buddy. And because so, you get to start 16th in a track that you don't run well at. But he proved me wrong at Phoenix. Will he prove me wrong again today? I think Corey LaJoie is great for the sport. I love seeing the Cinderella story. I love seeing all of it. Am I willing to put money behind it yet? No. Starting 16th. I mean, I would love for him to finish where he starts. That would be an awesome day for Corey. Not good for Draftkings. I don't have any interest starting 16th. If he were starting 26th, I might go, maybe. But, I mean, his average finish is 27.2. Nothing there that tells me that Corey LaJoie could finish well. Harrison Burton, 2 starts, starting 26. He's got an average finish of 21.5 with 1 top 20. Potential? I mean, 5,300. We gotta have a couple of these guys. So I do have some of Harrison Burton. Starting 26 at 5,300, I think he's value. Todd Gillen starting 13th. Yeah, dude, you outkicked your coverage here. You got the unlucky draw because you finished well last week. Yeah, 26th place average finish last year, 27th in the fall race, which finished 25th in the spring race, starting 13th. Yeah, no interest. Anthony Alfredo, starting 35th, has a 28.5 average finish, and all those were in 2021, not in this next-gen car. But I don't like why can't I think of his name now? The 13 car. That won the race yesterday. Chandler Smith. Anthony Alfredo starting 35th. Yes, there is room to go lower, but not much. So I've got some ownership in Anthony Alfredo at 5,100. There is some value here. He's going to end up probably getting a better finish than J.J. Yaley at 4,900, starting one spot better than Anthony Alfredo. With that being said, I'll take Anthony Alfredo over J.J. Yaley. I will also take Anthony Alfredo over Cody Ware, starting 31st. And it's a toss-up of whether I take Ty Dillon or Anthony Alfredo. Because starting 36th and 35th, I think Ty Dillon, he's got an average finish of 23rd here in Richmond. He finished 17th in the fall race, starting 36th. Ty Dillon's probably going to be extremely heavily owned. Just remember that. He's probably going to be more heavily owned than Chandler Smith or Anthony Alfredo. But I think all three of those guys could easily finish in top 20. Anthony Alfredo probably more like a 23rd, 24th. Chandler Smith probably close to the same. Ty Dillon finished 17th in the fall race last year and had a solid car all day long. Ty Dillon's going to be super heavily owned, especially at $4,700. It just frees up a ton of cash to run the guys at the top. I mean, you can run literally a Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., and a Christopher Bell, Ty Dillon, and still end up, I think, spending like $7,000 on the next two. It's crazy. All right, my breakdown out of Dominators. I'm not sure why I put Ross Chastain in this list. I did, though. So, shoot me for that one. Watch it actually happen. I mean, I guess I've got to differentiate somewhere. So, the wild card is Ross Chastain being in that Dominator class. But William Byron, I think, definitely could easily be. Kyle Busch could easily be. Denny Hamlin could sneak up there and run in the front for a while. I mean, Joe Logano's kind of starting a little bit further back than I like to be as a Dominator, but I do like him for a place differential, along with Christopher Bell, Brad Kate. I really like Eric Almirola, Josh Berry, Austin Dillon to come from the rear, Chandler Smith to come from the rear, Ty Dillon, Anthony Alfredo to come from the rear. Guys I'm not real interested in are Alex Bowman starting from the pole, Ty Gibbs starting 14th, Michael Adal starting 15th, Todd Gillen starting 13th, Corey LaJoie starting 16th. And of course, I don't really ever have any interest in J.J. Yaley or Cody Ware. Big question marks. I don't know what Daniel Suarez does today. I don't think Ricky Stenhouse and Tyler Reddick. Well, Tyler Reddick could stay in the top 5, probably top 10. I don't think Ricky Stenhouse Jr. stays in the top 10 though. Bubba Wallace, his head's clear. Get his act together, maybe. But yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of interest in Bubba Wallace, Austin Cindric, Justin Haley, coin toss. So that's kind of where I'm falling. I'm looking at one or two, and these guys could interchange. So the Dominators and finishers, you could interchange these guys pretty easily. Place differential, I mean, same with down here. You got Chandler Smith, Alfredo, Ty Dillon that really should probably be in the place differential slot, but they're also considered value. So that's kind of where I'm falling with a lot of these guys. So you're looking at one or two of these, 3 value / place differentials, and then maybe one of these guys for a good finishing spot. Let's kind of look at our optimal lineups. Joe Logano, Kevin Harvick, Christopher Bell, Eric Almirola, Chris Buescher, Austin Cindric. I mean, Austin Cindric, 33rd to 12th. Okay, yeah, 33rd, that's a good pick. But if you're starting 6 Austin Cindric and you fall to 12th, not interested. But we had one Dominator, we had 6 place differential guys. I mean, yeah, that's pretty easy. Eric Almirola, 32nd to 8th. Austin Cindric, 33rd to 12th. I'm pretty sure I didn't have much Chris Buescher going from 18th to 3rd. But Joe Logano, Kevin Harvick, Christopher Bell, yeah. And then the spring race was a little bit different. I mean, William Byron started 2nd, so close to when he started today. Led 122 laps here, finished 3rd. I mean, William Byron could easily get up there and lead 200 laps today, if not more. So I do like William Byron for a Dominator, probably more than anybody else. Now, for the win, all depends on tire strategy at that point. But yeah, so we've got one Dominator, 2 place differential, 2 values, 2 finish. So, and then some guys that just, I mean, Christopher Bell 9-6. Martin Truex 6-4. I mean, he did 80 laps. So that's kind of how it fell last year. And then we'll look at 2021 just for giggles, because the car was completely different. Tires were set up differently. I think actually one of these races was at night. And as you see, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex, Christopher Bell, all Toyotas, all finishing 1, 2, 3. I mean, maybe I'm not crazy. Ross Chastain led 4 laps, moved from 17th to 7th. Ross did not make a double out there. I mean, here's Chase Briscoe showing up again, 26th, 16th. 1 dominator, 2 place differentials, 3 value, 3 finish. I don't know what I'm saying. I mean, 1 dominator, 3 place differential, 3 finish. I mean, $500 left, $100 left, $1,100. So, I mean, you're using most of your money today. Don't be scared to use most of it, and don't be scared if you max it all out. I would not leave $2,000 or $3,000 left on the table when you're building your rosters today. But either way, can we see Kevin Harvick make it to victory lane again in his final season in the number 4 car? Or do we see one of the just normal Toyota guys end up running up front and taking the checkers? Or maybe it'll be William Byron stinking up the show again. I hope it's not a stink up of show. I think we'll have some green flag long runs. I think we'll see some tire strategies. All I know is I hope we don't get as lost as we were in the spring. The spring race was nutty, and I'm telling you, if you didn't have headphones and listening to MRN's broadcast, you were lost on where anybody was. But either way, it's going to be a bright blue sunny sky day today, high of 62 at the track. It's going to be clean and green. So tire fall-off is going to be big at the beginning, probably a competition caution at lap 35 is my guess, maybe 40. Either way, you guys have a great time. I'm headed to the track, taking my son to his first cup race. Excited about that. His grandmother is coming in also, my mother-in-law. She lives right up the road. She's a big Denny Hamlin fan, so maybe Denny Hamlin will get a win for her. Maybe Ricky Stenhouse will get a win for my son. And maybe Kyle Larson will get a win for me. I'm not sure any of those happen today, but either way, have a great day. Good luck in DraftKings. We will see you next week. Make sure you like, subscribe, and join that Discord. I appreciate it. Have a great one. Thanks. Bye.
Get a good deep breath. Get ready to roll here. Only about one thing tonight, getting the W, so got to be around at the end to do that. Get ready to roll tonight, boys. Let's go have some fun.
Don't get me any more fired up than I already am.
All the way to the checkered. You're fine. Nobody's got to run. Checker time, baby!
Hell yeah!
Proud of you there, Matt. Good job, pal. Thanks, man. Good job all day.
Great work, my man. Great work. Keep putting yourself in position, we'll win our share, right? We got one back today, brother. Good job.
Great job, guys. Excellent work, my man. Excellent work. Thank you.
Man, that's awesome. Set out with a goal and we got it here, bud. Thank you very much.
Really proud of you, man. Drove your butt off tonight. We had the fastest car here, bud.
Probably killed our deal there. Just feel like I gave one away.
Yeah, boys. Way to rebound. Great job.
Great job, bud. Really good job. Appreciate you hanging in there with us all weekend.
What a weekend. Good job. Thank you.